King Island, a brand new hub and a brand new GM and our Mayor Marcus Blackie. Gentlemen, welcome.
Good afternoon, Wade. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be back with you again.
Yep.
Yeah, good afternoon, Wade.
Our new manager, Bryan Nicholson. Bryan, I guess you have noticed or you have been told that we had over 70 candidates interested in your job.
Yes, I do believe. I'm not surprised. It is a beautiful island. A lot of interest from New Zealand, I believe, as well. So, so I'm not surprised with those numbers. It would be a sought-after role.
If somebody said to you King Island in January 2025, what would you have said? Oh, yeah, that's...
I would have said, is that off the coast of England or something? So, yes, to be honest, I didn't know about King Island until the role came up, but I quickly done a lot of research and had a look online, and there's a lot of good information online. And for the interview, I did come over here and spend a couple of days and, instantly fell in love with the island. It's quite spectacular. It does remind me of New Zealand, but it also, on the other side, also reminds me of mainland Australia. So I think I'm getting the best of both worlds.
Now, Marcus, did the council consider, or the people that helped with filling in the job, was there any worry at some stage? Oh, New Zealand? Or was it like, no?
No, we deliberately wanted to advertise, obviously, within Australia and outside of Australia, particularly local government systems like in New Zealand that are similar to our own. So we cast the net a little bit wider this time, and as you said, yes, we got 70 applicants. The calibre of applicants was very, very impressive. Shortlisting was the first challenge. And then obviously the end winner, of course, was Bryan, which was quite an achievement given the competition he was up against. So it's great to have Bryan on board finally as our new general manager after nearly 2 years of acting general managers and filling general managers, who incidentally did a great job and we learnt a lot from, and they provided us the stability we needed. But it's great to have our critical general manager's job substantively filled now with Bryan. New Zealand's loss is Australia's gain in this instance. There's nothing wrong with Australia and New Zealand poaching each other's talent from time to time. Bryan comes to us from a beautiful borough on the North Island of New Zealand, which I'm told doesn't have a blade of grass out of place. And he's an accomplished administrator, and so it's great to have the benefit of Bryan's experience brought over here to King Island, and great to have someone come in with complete objectivity as well, who can see our strengths and weaknesses and get to work with the ongoing reform that we need to do within our council. And after 3 years in the job as mayor, I'm glad Bryan's here, because metal sharpens metal. I need Bryan to give me a bit of a shake and get me going again as well.
Thanks.
Well, that's good. Now, Bryan, did you have plans to move to Australia, or was this just...
Yeah, myself and my partner have been talking about coming across the ditch for quite a while. We didn't really have a place in mind, but certainly Australia was in our long-term plan. There's a lot of New Zealanders moving over the ditch.
How come? Is it New Zealand can't be that bad?
No, New Zealand is a great place, but a lot of us do see a lot more opportunities in Australia. The economy's a lot bigger, and there's new challenges. So for a lot of us, it is a bit of an adventure. Last time I checked, I think there was about 90,000 New Zealanders that shifted to Australia within a 6-month period. So there's a lot of us looking abroad. But yeah, I see it as a land of opportunities. A very similar system to New Zealand, as Marcus spoke about, in terms of local government, but there's enough differences to provide us with new challenges as well.
Not difficult to leave friends and family behind, or?
That's probably the hardest thing about leaving New Zealand, is friends and family. But we're only a couple of flights away. I could get back to New Zealand in the same day, and also they can get over here within the same day as well.
Well, the good thing is you probably fly cheaper from Melbourne to Auckland than from Melbourne to King Island, but...
It is a bit like that, to be honest. I booked some tickets recently, and I think going back to New Zealand was a few $100s, so it wasn't much more expensive than going to Melbourne. But I know all this, so when I did my before I came over in the role, checked all this out. So not really a hassle getting back to New Zealand, and I do have family coming over for Christmas and New Year, so I really look forward to that as well.
Now, talking about flights, Marcus, as you know, you had your issues in the past with Rex. We have Sharp. We often have, do we have enough seats? We want to grow the population of the island. Now, you look, as an example that I just give you, is that the Festival of King Island is next year, 13 and 14 of February. Friday the 13th of February from Tasmania, Sharp have cancelled the afternoon flight and the morning flight is fully booked. Is it about time, you think, that not just Council or just Festival or Imperial 20, but that the whole island unites and sort of tells the airlines, if we want to grow, we need you on board. If we want to increase tourism, is what you want to see, particularly Tourism Tasmania, we need some action, don't we?
Yeah, Wade, look, as we all know, this is a big and complex issue, and it's an issue that we haven't cracked yet, but we haven't given up on either. Aviation is our Highway 1. It's the only way people can come and go from King Island, as well as air cargo and mail and perishable foods and newspapers and everything else that come and go via air from King Island. You're right, we've gone into, over winter, a period of reduced schedules, which is frustrating, but we understand the business reasons for it by operators like Sharp and others. Incidentally, even Rex hasn't returned to the full flights tempo they had of 3 flights a day pre-COVID. So there's lots of improvement in this space. We've just employed our new airport manager, Chris Newton. He's come to us with a commercial piloting background. He started in the job last month, and he brings with him a lot of industry contacts, which we hope will help our cause. So that's one thing. Secondly, Sharp Airlines. And again, I like to always doff my hat to Sharp because they don't get the federal government support and bailouts that Rex and other airlines do. Yet they crack on and do their best. Sharp also fly cargo and not just passengers in their kit, so they're very, very versatile and useful to us in that respect.
I fully understand that, but isn't it not like, would we say to Sharp, what are your plans for the future? We want to grow. Do you want to grow with us, or are you happy with the business you've got right now and stabilise it and leave it as is?
Well, the big thing with Sharp recently announced is their new interline agreement with Qantas, where they'll be given a Qantas flight number and they'll be able to.
But that's only a booking system. There's not more seats.
Yeah, and look, we know this is going to take a few months to bed in and for any bugs in it to be sorted out. And also, Sharp operate out of Essendon, whereas Qantas will connect into Tullamarine. So there's a bit of an off-reservation connection there. So initially it might be a bit clunky, but I'm confident it'll work out. But it's a step in the right direction, we hope that Sharp will return to their full flight schedule when spring, and we know that travel, the numbers, capacity needs to increase in spring to feed golfing and tourism visitation and other things. So hopefully Sharp will return to their full schedule from next month onwards into summer and have a very profitable summer for us. Increased capacity, as you said, not only for the Focky, but a whole range of other big events we anticipate coming in the next 6 months ahead. But yeah, this is a big issue. I haven't given up. In the fullness of time, we would like to see QantasLink come in, with the Q400, the larger Q400 aircraft. But as I've articulated in the past, the rising tide needs to lift all boats. We wouldn't want QantasLink to come in and then bully out Rex or Sharp or King Island Airways or any of the other smaller operators that have got us through a tough time. What you're saying
is we're always sensitive. You can have somebody big coming in, but the ones that you always have been reliable, you don't want to lose them.
No, that's right. And we want more fair competition. We want better connections. We want more capacity. We want, obviously, primarily passengers catered for, but also increasing air cargo volumes as well. So all these things, and again, I'm confident this recent development with Sharp and Qantas is a step in the right direction. It may lead to bigger things. I hope it will. We'll certainly be encouraging that. And as I said, we haven't given up. We're just consolidating on a few other issues and a few other things that Council has recently delivered. And when the time is right, I'm really going to have another crack at this whole issue and try and move us forward. In the meantime, our new airport manager gets established, and we hopefully will harvest some of his contacts. Brian's getting established as our new general manager. We're undertaking a big airfield study as well over the next 12 months to ascertain the structural integrity of our runway and what upgrades we need in priority order and get accurate costings so we can then go and advocate and get some federal funding for it. particularly aimed at getting the bigger Dash 8 400 aircraft in that QantasLink and others may operate. That's what that we hope that will become, the standard RPT platform that will be operating out of King Island Airport in the not too distant future once the Rex Saabs and others retire because they're getting quite old.
Yeah, I understand. Now, Brian, getting established, as Marcus just said, is there a lot of difference between local government acts, say in New Zealand and Australia, or is there a lot of similarities between the two? Or
It's largely similar, but the council I just came from, Tarawera District Council, we still had our 3 water assets. We still managed libraries. So there was some differences in terms of those areas of responsibility, but in terms of legislation, it's very similar. The responsibilities of a GM and from Australia to New Zealand are pretty much the same as well. So there are some slight differences, and I'm working through those. But all in all, the way I look at it, it's very similar, and that helps. And all those experiences that I've had in New Zealand, I can bring over here. But I'm still learning. I've still got to learn a lot about these systems, but it shouldn't take too long to come up to speed.
how does it compare like with your previous council, and you look at the King Island Council, where, for example, you might have already noticed, where here on this island, small population, council is pretty much involved with everything in some sort of way, and council also relies on all the different bits and pieces what happen on the island. It's not like a separate thing. Like, say, for instance, if you're in a bigger place, even like in New Zealand, as a GM, for example, you go home and half the population of your council probably doesn't even know you. We're here. Do you find that different, or similarities? Or
Yeah, there's some differences and some similarities in the council from New Zealand. Was a rural council, so the population of the district was about just under 20,000 people, but I did have the same amount of elected members, and we had 7 towns and 4 main towns. So I was still quite recognisable wherever I went into those, because they were smaller towns, and that's good and bad. And the difference here is, I guess, it is smaller again, and there's no hiding, but I think that's a good thing as well. The council's put the faith in me to do a good job, and I want to deliver and do a good job for them, so I've got to get out there. I've got to get out and about with the community and be part of the community, and that's what actually attracted me to the role as well. It wasn't just a job, it's actually a way of life, but also the good opportunity also to get a good work-life balance.
But it can also be a little bit more sensitive, of course, because in some councils you could make a decision and hardly anybody knows, where here somebody could say in the street in IGA, hey, listen, what are you doing now, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. No hiding here, but I like that challenge. My role isn't really to make decisions, but it is to provide really good information, so Marcus and the other councillors can make some good decisions. But it ends up being a collective decision anyway, so a lot of the members of the public won't see Marcus made that or Brian. We're all one team, so we've all got to be responsible for those, but every decision we will make will be in the best interest of the community. It might not always make everyone happy, but you've just got to have thick skin and live with that.
Okay, not everybody is always happy. I know that, Marcus. We're sitting here with the two of you in our brand new hub. Not everybody was happy about the new hub being built. It was a waste of money, and it's ugly, and name it. We opened it a month ago. How's things going in hub?
Again, as I've long articulated, I hope that any remaining naysayers, if there are, on the hub have been won over, because it's an incredibly impressive facility. As you know, you were here. Most of the island visited the hub when it was opened last month on the 17th of July, and the Anchorage Festival that followed the 2 nights afterwards. It's an impressive and incredible facility. As you said, it's got great acoustics for interviews like this, so we'll take that as a compliment as well. I can see us doing a lot more of this type of thing here in the hub, with this beautiful view and the sun basking in. So I think, Obviously, we're in partnership with Curdo to open the hub Monday to Friday, 10 till 4, and also on Saturdays, 10 till noon, which is great. So anyone who hasn't seen the hub and doesn't appreciate the potential of the hub and how well it's built, come down and check it out sometime soon. As I said, open Monday to Friday now, 10 till 4, run by our Curdo partners here, and also on Saturday for a few hours. And I remind all King Islanders that this incredible venue is available to locals for hire at a very discounted rate. We want to encourage locals to use it for all manner of things, probably even including weddings. As I said on opening day here, I think the first wedding held in here will be a lucky omen. So there's a challenge for the island.
So you're saying in a way that everybody always talks about King Island is very expensive, but not the hub. We have at least something that is not very expensive then, at least.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah, excellent value for money for what it offers. And, we obviously, council, we project manage delivery of this hub. We built it and delivered it in 18 months, which is not an unimpressive achievement these days, given all the moving parts. And it was federally funded by a $5 million federal government grant that was an investment in King Island for a facility we don't have, or we hitherto didn't have. So if we didn't grab that opportunity by the tail and deliver it for the benefit of King Island, then we would have been negligent in our duty. So I hope if there is any remaining naysayers out there regarding the hub, especially if they haven't come down and seen it yet, and understand how impressive a facility it is and the myriad of uses it can be used for. If there is any of those remaining out there, then do that. But I'm sure they'll be won over very soon, if not already. But again, as a council, I make no apologies for this. We don't make decisions to relive the recent past. We make decisions to manifest the future we want for the island. So there's a difference. There's always an element, there's always a bit of a leap of faith involved in making decisions of that nature. Sometimes we have to drag a minority of the population along. But that's what we've got to do as a council. We've got to make decisions to manifest the future that we want to deliver here on King Island, and we're not making decisions to relive the recent past.
Now, Brian, I remember when I came to King Island, the first people that I knew by name were the people working at the supermarkets, because at least they were wearing a name tag. You've been here now a few weeks. What tactics do you use to remember people's names?
Well,
is there tactics for it?
I think your tactic of reading the name badges is a good one, and I did actually use that when I visited the bank to open up accounts. So there's a lot of administration when you move from one country to the other, so that has been a tactic. But another tactic of mine is actually to go down to the pub and have a couple of beers with the locals, especially while I am going under the radar a little bit. So I have met a few locals just at the pub over a pint or two as well. This weekend I am going to be at the footy match, so I look forward to meeting a lot more locals there as well.
So, but would it be nice if just for 6 months everybody was wearing name tags? So you have a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe we could develop a bylaw that says that everyone must wear name tags. Yeah, it would be nice. As someone else pointed out to me that I met, I've got to remember, dozens of names. I've just got to remember one in terms of my getting to know me. So yeah, it is a challenge, but hopefully over time I'll get to know everyone's name. I'll remember your name, Wade. Definitely won't forget it.
Oh, well, a good starting point, I guess. Talking about the footy, Marcus, there has been a time that you were not only a mayor, but you also played a bit of referee. That's all over and done? Or
yeah, look,
getting older?
Taking on all the problems of King Island as I do comes with the job of mayor. I've last 2 seasons I've just decided to focus on all those challenges, and for a while there was a shortage of umpires, so I piloted and helped, and I enjoyed a bit of a comeback. But I'm also getting fatter and slower, and while there's no shortage of umpires anymore, and whilst I can focus
still
on
the right muscles
duties.
For tossing the coin, I guess. But
yeah, well, Brian gets the job on Saturday, the Kiffer Grand Final of tossing the coin, so he can do that. And it's looking like the weather's going to be similar to last year, where the team wants to win. Both teams will want to win the toss and kick with the wind, I'd say.
Well, I have to say, Brian, we don't have a King Island haka, and rugby is slightly different than AFL. I guess you know that, isn't it? Than footy, though.
Yes, and I've watched quite a few games recently to get my head around footy. But it is a very skillful game. So to me, it's a bit of rugby, a bit of rugby league, a bit of volleyball, a bit of netball, and a bit of high jumping, I think.
Well, it's a bit of a mix, I guess.
As we say, KIFA, the King Island Football Association, footy here on King Island with the three teams is brother against brother. It's personal. It's a bit of a time warp back to the 90s. And we like that about it. It's definitely a unique competition, and usually the grand final is the biggest event, maybe with the exception of the Focky. We'll give them the credit for that. But
let's
probably
clarify.
the biggest sporting event of the year anyway is the grand
Let's
final.
do a little clarification here, because Brian might think we're going to put in beeps here. Focky stands for Festival of King Island.
Yes.
So you know that it's not like we're swearing or.
Which is a fantastic big rock concert we have here. It was rested this year, but it's back again early next year. We look forward to it.
I do look forward to it, but you're right, Wade. When I first heard that word, I went. But yes, I do understand what it stands for.
There's a few words, but then we hear some New Zealand words where we think, is this right? So I think it happens in every language.
It does. I think of some of the cities in New Zealand called whakatane and things like that. I see other people that have never heard those sort of words before raise their eyebrows as well.
Marcus knows them. Places like Puckapunyal in Australia, we got plenty of weird names too.
Absolutely. And we get to, and I get to dust off all my old Kiwi jokes. Like, what's the capital of New Zealand? Bondi, of course.
Yes.
What's the New Zealand national anthem? Or Dave Dobbin, Slice of Heaven. All those old Kiwi jokes. I get to dust off and throw around.
We better be careful now, because it's a nice conversation so far. So that now talking about the footy happening over the weekend. When this goes to air, we don't know for sure yet. But how sad is it that there is a good chance that we will not see races this coming season?
Yeah, look, it's very sad. I know I speak on behalf of all King Islanders when I say that horse racing here has a great history. It's a colourful event, loved equally by locals and visiting tourists. Honest to how he usually cleans me out, though. I don't tend to win when I go to the races, but I certainly enjoy the spectacle. But yeah, look, it's becoming more and more difficult with gaming regulations and logistics and whatever else to stand up the horse racing carnival here on King Island each year. Tas Racing have been staunch supporters of it, but sooner or later it's going to hit a culminating point where it's not going to be possible to run it anymore. And also the number of people getting out of the sport, like the old horse trainers and others that used to love the horses and the sport, a lot of those have gotten out of the sport altogether and haven't been replaced by younger generations. So all those factors appear to be coming to a head. Hopefully it will survive, but I guess we'll support them in principle, and hopefully they'll pull through. And they'll certainly have my support and the council's support for that to happen. But
what would we do with the racetrack if it all finished over and done with? New suburb?
Well, we won't. We won't get ahead of ourselves, and we certainly don't want to put the commentator's curse or the death knell on our great horse racing industry here and the season here. But aside from horse racing, of course, and the Pony Club, they're reasonable uses. We'll give them that. And Show Day in March. This very, very large council-owned complex isn't used most of the year. So, as I said, not forestalling what may happen, but if the horse racing carnival doesn't survive here on King Island, then as a council moving forward, we'll have to consider options for what we do with one of our largest underutilised assets. It's business is business.
But when you think about it, Brian, is that, and I'd like to hear a comparison, I guess it's no different. We find here, particularly on King Island, but it's not only here, that volunteers are getting over and fresh blood is in many ways not stepping up, coming in. Did you experience that where you came from too? Is it?
Yes, definitely experienced that. A lot of the committees were older people, and there's very limited succession planning behind that, and it is a challenge. Less people have time, well, certainly in New Zealand, less people had time to volunteer themselves. A lot of people have got busy lives, young children. So yes, it is a problem from the council that I've just come from. Even with elected members as well, how are you attracting younger people to come on board as well, and how do you promote it?
We certainly saw that here, didn't we? Last council election, we didn't have enough
Yeah.
candidates running in the first place.
Yeah, so those are all challenges, and I don't have the answers for those, but it is something we've got to be aware of. What I've been really impressed with here on the island is the amount of volunteers, and some volunteers are wearing 4 or 5 hats, and working, full time as well, and I find that amazing. Really, I've never come across it to this level. But you're right, Wade. It will be a challenge when people stop doing that. So who fills the gap? And Marcus and I were talking about this just walking up here. Is quite often different groups will look to council, but is it council's core function as well? So how do we get that balance right? But as a council, and especially with our elected representatives, the mayor, how do we advocate to the public to get involved in?
Is it also a little bit expectation mixing with understanding? Yes, you can expect, but you have to, at the same time, you have to understand. From the average perspective, people can say, "Oh, we want this, we want that," but
I think education's a big thing about knowing what council does, but also all of these other groups, and how do we educate people and promote that. Again, is a challenge, but it is imperative for the island to continue that, because without it, it's going to make being successful harder. So the volunteers play a crucial role. But I agree with what you said. How does everyone know? How are we educating the public in terms of what is good practice in terms of, and what council does and can't do, because councils can't do everything.
Now, Marcus, I'm sure you told Brian already that living on King Island, as you often say, the cleanest air, the freshest is, the best is, the best is, the best that. You think that that's been one of the reasons why recently we had one of our residents turn in a century? Well, 100 years?
Oh, it's got to be a contributing factor, Wade. All that, all that great air, fresh air, world's freshest air, all that great cheese, grass-fed beef, etc. Yes. Happy 100th birthday to Mrs. Margaret Perry. Although she was born in Ulverstone, just over the way, she's spent most of her life here on King Island and has made a huge contribution to King Island, and she's a stalwart of our community. Most of us will never make 100, and if we did, we'd be hard-pressed to have had as dignified an innings as Margaret has had. So happy birthday, Margaret. Myself and the Deputy Mayor and others were at her big family reunion and birthday party last week at the CWA Hall, and it was amazing to see three generations of her descendants that were there and present.
Well, you have to think about it. Did you ever get a personal letter from the King and from the Prime Minister?
No.
You have to do a lot of work before you get there.
That's right. And we saw there laid out in front of Margaret was her impressive card from King Charles and the Queen, the Prime Minister, Governor-General, Governor, everyone. So it was brilliant to see, and we made a big fuss of her, and as far as we can ascertain, it's been about 30 years or so since someone last turned 100 here on King Island, so it's a pretty big deal, and it was nice to see the great article about her in the paper last week, and may she continue in good health and be with us for many years to come. Definitely.
Now, Brian, I'm sure you followed already for a little bit what happened on King Island and the state of Tasmania. What did you get, or what did you follow from with the state elections, the motion of this and that, and elections? I don't know. Do you have that sort of thing in New Zealand?
No, and to be honest, it was getting a little bit confusing, because I was aware of the actual federal government and Labor and your Prime Minister Albanese winning that, and then I heard there was some issues with Tasmania where there was a vote of no confidence, and then had to go back to the elections or have another election, and then the same.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing changed. The Liberal Party got back in again, and we lost. I guess the state lost 3 months with nothing really happening. So I guess from my perspective, it's good for all that to be finally sorted, and we the state can get on with things.
What does it mean for the island, Marcus?
I think now that it appears that we're out of caretaker period and that the Rockcliffe government has won back the confidence of the House, I guess we'll just pick up where we left off. Irrespective of them being a minority government, we've had a great working relationship with the Rockcliffe government, forged through times of difficulty, 23 and 24, obviously the drought and all the other trials and tribulations that King Island went through. the Rockcliffe government were very staunch supporters and very generous supporters of King Island. So we've got a battle-hardened relationship forged with the Rockcliffe government. We'll pick up where we left off and get back to work, and in particular delivering the new ambulance station, the Grassy Hub, the Grassy Port Harbour expansion study, and a few other things in the forward scrub are things that we'll need to get to work with with the state government.
Did you ever think that Labor might get in and form government?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because again, who would have thought Anne Urquhart would have had as emphatic a win as she had in the federal seat of Braddon? No one saw that coming.
Well, never ever a win like that in Braddon and King Island.
Yeah, so there's always the unexpected, but again, as mayor and as a council, we've got to work with whoever's elected and be constructive and almost apolitical. We've got to work with whoever's elected and be constructive, and we trust the people of King Island to elect who's right for us, and we'll just get on with it.
Mayor Marcus Blackie, we thank you very much for your time, and our new General Manager, Bryan Nicholson, welcome to King Island, and hope it all works out for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wade.